Hi, my name is Anna, and I'm e-governance expert, e-Estonia Briefing Center Managing Director, and a TED speaker, and my mission is to inspire the digital transformation of governments around the world by sharing insights to one of the most digital societies in the world, e-Estonia. Many keep saying the world will enter a new reality after COVID, and most of us has probably already felt it. But what is this new reality going to look like and mean for the governments around the world? Is vaccine, remote working, wearing facial masks at all times, and COVID apps are really going to cut it? Or how we're going to cope with all of that uncertainty around us, and especially in connection to the public services provision? Addressing the pandemic, the whole world is actually focused on solving the health-related aspects of that and might be overlooking some bigger issues. Surely, we cannot be prepared for everything, but from the risk management perspective, pandemic is just one of the types of events or crises that can seriously disrupt the functioning of a society, economy, and state governance. Any other crisis, whether it's military or natural disaster or chemical catastrophe or cyber war, can have a serious damaging impact. And let's not forget, we're in the middle of the climate crisis right now. So how can the state guarantee minimum disruption on public services provision and keep people safe at home at all times? Or actually, keep them safe anywhere else? How many countries today are ready to provide full range of public services electronically in a secure and convenient manner? Not many, right? The power and importance of e-governance has been seriously underestimated around the world. And we can argue if there is a clear positive connection between e-governance and trust towards the government. It is clear that lack of this access to public services could result in the deep loss of public trust, as it will be seen as an inability of the state to serve and protect its citizens. Considering a large-scale trust crisis towards the governments around the world, I believe discussions about e-services and e-governance should very quickly transform into real action plans. E-services is like a new hygiene factor, and we must make it so. Interesting fact that 85% of Estonian people trust e-services and use them constantly. This is the research we have done in April in the middle of a corona pandemic quarantine. And not only during the corona pandemic, our system has passed this ultimate stress test, but we have also seen a rapid growth in the consumption of digital services, their usage. And we didn't have invest anything into additional training or communication on the population side, because it's really simple to use. In fact, in Estonia, we have been declaring taxes online since 2001. We have been using digital identity and signature since 2002. We have been voting over the internet from anywhere in the world since 2005. And for today, pretty much the whole range of the public services you can imagine, excluding marriage, divorce, and, selling real estate is actually now, thanks to Corona, possible online as well. Mostly everything is done online. Access to the services anytime, anywhere is the essence of the equality in a society. We did not do it by digitizing bureaucracy as it is, but by rather agreeing on a few common principles, like design principles, redesigning the rules and procedures, getting rid of data duplication and collecting of it, and all the necessary tasks, and also becoming open and transparent. So next, I will explain some of the key design principles of a digital society that any country can implement today, no matter of its size or the way of governance. First, the essential principle is to guarantee privacy and confidentiality of data and information. So e-identity is a key to achieving that, a strong digital identity that is issued by the state and compatible with everything. In fact, every Estonian has one, and this is our key to access the private data that the government has collected about us and all of the public services within one tool. And in fact, we can also digitally sign anything which will be legally binding, doing that fully digitally. So when the system can properly and securely identify who is using it, it can give access to the private data depending on different levels and can provide this transparency when the data is accessed, but also by public institutions. This is the key to the equal access to services, no matter where people actually are located. Important is to mention that in Estonia, internet access is a social right, so not yet a constitutional thing we would write, but it's very closely related, right? So its availability and the reasonable cost must become a state's priority. So principle we had in place for over a decade. And this is the reason we also have many digital services today. Another design principle that can also be implemented, could be probably constitutional too, is one of the most transformative ones. It is called once only. It's been there for a while, but not many countries has actually implemented it. It means that the state cannot collect the same type of information and ask it from the citizens more than once, and cannot store it in more than one place. For instance, if you've already provided your birth or marital certificate to the population registry, then there is no other governmental institution or body that can ask for the same document again. They must ask it from the population registry, who is responsible to keeping and maintaining that. This is the way how we avoid duplication of data. We avoid any inadequate or outdated information, and we also decrease the number of risk factors. When someone gets hacked, they don't get the whole picture. This is a really powerful tool because it defines the whole structure of the data collection in a country, what information is collected, and who is responsible for maintaining it. Another principle that surely can become one of the constitutional rights for people is the question of the data ownership. The Estonian system is based on the principle that individual is the owner of the data that is collected about him, whether by governments or businesses, which means the citizen has an absolute right to know what information is collected and who has been accessing it. Data ownership is something you really want to talk about and decide on. Every time a policeman, a doctor, a state officer in different kinds takes a look, whether it's to do their work, right, at the data, a citizen can see a log file showing who has been accessing information, at what time and for what reasons. And the Data Protection Agency is the one to take action in case there was some misuse. The log file itself is one of the basic services that every citizen has access to and is visible all the times. And it can even be used in court as evidence for any data manipulation or misuse. Estonia has provided for today 99% of all state services over the internet. And it has been so for quite many years. So pandemic, interestingly, did not really change how we operate, neither created any serious disruptions. We were the most disrupted probably by the emotional side of being in quarantine and not being able to connect and talk to each other. And digitally running a country internally and externally, providing services online, has been there since 2001, when the first data exchange layer, called the X-Road, has been implemented and introduced. It is connecting all state public institutions, private sector companies, and other relevant organizations organizing a secure data exchange. And this X-Road has become the backbone for all of our digital services and exchange, which now number up to 3,000 different variations. Over the X-Road, we're exchanging around 3 million queries, and it is happening automatically. So we are saving enormous working time every year. The same technology has been successfully implemented in some of the developed and developing countries, such as Namibia, Faroe Islands, Ukraine, and actually our closest neighbor, Finland. And of course, confidentiality and privacy are very important in the digital world, but the integrity of data is not less important. And it is just critical for operations, in fact. Just imagine, to make it simple, for instance, if someone changes your medical record, and let's say the allergy is part of it, or your blood type, without you or your doctor knowing, at some point, treatment could be deadly. That's why in a digital society, a system like an Estonian one, when there's almost no paper originals and everybody are relying on digital data that is there, integrity of data exchange rules, log files, and the software components, it's critical for operations. We use a form of blockchain that we have invented in 2007, long before blockchain became a cryptocurrency thing. And the thing is itself, blockchain today is our auditor and a guarantee that no one can manipulate the facts or the data that is digitally there. And if someone has access to data, this will be in a log file that cannot be erased or removed by anyone. The aim here, apart from different, side effects, is to provide secure, 24/7 accessible and inclusive services that are so user-friendly and intuitive that even a kid could use them. We're not talking about a nation of highly skilled IT people who are the only ones that are able to solve this mystery, right? My grandmother, okay, maybe at 85, it's pretty hard, but my mother, at least at 65, should really be able to do that, right? And while we're offering these services in such a easy use way, we also are guaranteeing privacy, confidentiality, and integrity of data, as well as transparency of the state and the governmental actions, which is kind of pretty important. And this is the essence of the user-centric approach that has citizens' interest in its mind, As a side bonus, it is also impacting the citizen satisfaction with the services, with the government, impacts trust, of course, but also the engagement level in democratic processes and participation, where people digitally could, raise their concerns or give amends to legislation or vote online. So the Estonian system has really proven to be indispensable, not only during the crisis, but beyond that, and helps to keep people safe at home when needed. So what is next? The future is definitely very uncertain, but what is certain that we can tailor that to match the needs. So proactive services is exactly what we are trying to do in Estonia to address the main trends to automatize public services based on different life events, eliminating bureaucracy at all. So zero bureaucracy is one of the programs written in the political agenda. It means that life events like, let's say, childbirth, marriage, starting a business, or unemployment, or retirement, or buying a car, they automatically trigger a set of public services that people are entitled to or that are important. They're kind of bundled in a user-centered ways and use data exchange. So some of the services that will be automatically provided based on these different life events are already in production this year, and 50 more services will be available next year. When you get married, your name change will be also reflected in the government ordering you new documents or a new driving license that can be even sent to your home address by post. So with 99% of all state services online and massively used, the next level of public services for us will be definitely connected to AI. In 2019 to 21, our government has pledged more than 10 million euros to implement the National Artificial Intelligence Strategy. So CRET AI, basically the name of the program, entails an opportunity for people to use public services in a very direct and in kind of voice-based way. So imagine if you can just voice your question to the government or request towards the service just in your mobile phone through Messenger. People's minds are more ready than ever for this change, so we can start building a zero bureaucracy future by including the main design principles of building the digital society, building that probably into the constitution and embracing this new life and digital life standards for a better future for all. Thank you very much.